What's up everybody, how's it going? It's Berk, aka Dansg08, and it's time for a Hangout video because the updates have been building up. There's a lot of things that I want to discuss and share with you guys, so let me get straight into it and I will bring you up to date with what's going on in the world of Dansg08 and the channel. So, most recently I have wrapped up Final Fantasy VI for good. It was a massive 103-part series, much longer than I expected. I had a wonderful time. Final Fantasy VI is one of my favourite Final Fantasies of all time now. The series performance has been immense. Thank you all so much for watching. I've said it numerous times, so I won't go too far into it, but just a word of thanks to everybody who joined me for that series. I had a wonderful time, and I'm looking forward to the next Final Fantasy that I'll be playing, and I'll get to that a bit later on in the Hangout. I also want to thank everybody for the recent content that I've made about Yojimbo and the Deadliest Moves. So that was one of those pieces of content where for the Deadliest Moves I kind of knew that it would be a hit. I just had a feeling. It was one of those where I looked it up and it was like, no one's done this yet, like really? And I thought if I get this right, it should do pretty well. And it's the first time in a long time where I could say that a video I've made has been a hit in terms of breaking out of that Dansg08 bubble, as it were. There's a reason why when I make specific videos like that, I try to sort of pump them up a bit more on social media and on the YouTube community page and all that stuff, because the best way to get a video like that out into the wider expanse of the YouTube universe is to try and get your subscriber base to support the content, to watch it, to like it, to give it some watch time so that it breaks out of that bubble. When it comes to LP content, it's ongoing, consistent content, so it's very, very unlikely that a random person is going to see like LP episode 47 on their homepage. But when you make a specific video, and if, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20% of your subscribers actually watch the video and they comment on it and they like it and they share it and all that kind of stuff, then that gives it a great chance of breaking out of the Dansg08 bubble and for a lot of random people that don't know the channel to discover the content. And that's why you guys are so important with that sort of stuff. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened with the recent Deadliest Moves content. Of course, part of that is about me and what content do I choose to do. I mean, I can't expect everyone to champion every single video that I make, but I do my best to try and make like videos that I really enjoy the idea of and that I think you guys are going to enjoy. And that content right there was proof that for people that do follow the channel and do support, you guys are instrumental in helping that kind of content reach the wider masses and bring new eyes to the channel. So thank you to everybody for that. That was really, really successful. And even the second like nerdy video has been successful so far, which has really pleased me. It's like I knew my audience had it in them to enjoy that one too. So I was really pleased about the deep dive on Yojimbo Zanmato as well. And there's probably one more video I want to make about Yojimbo. So if you guys have been enjoying that sort of content, there is likely to be a bit more to come on that. It won't be anytime soon, in like the next week or two or whatever, but it's definitely in the pipeline. And I will do a little bit of extra sort of research and see if it's enough to make a video out of and how exactly I want to do it. So thank you to everybody for the recent love on the Yojimbo content. It's been really cool to see that content doing well. So now we can start to talk about upcoming content. Final Fantasy VI is wrapped, and that leaves a nice slot for me to upload some more content. Of course, everyone's waiting for Final Fantasy V, I know, and I will definitely get to it, but there's been other stuff that I've wanted to work on first. And the game that's going to be replacing Final Fantasy VI for the short term is going to be Undertale. This is a game that has been on my radar for a long time. The fact that it's a relatively short game compared to most of what I play on the channel, and the fact that I've been told numerous times that it'd be a really fun game for me to play and for people to watch, I decided to finally do it, and as of this point I've completed my first run of Undertale. For those of you guys who don't know what Undertale is, it's a small quirky little RPG made primarily by one man, and it features a lot of very interesting mechanics and decisions and that kind of stuff. And it's very entertaining to watch someone play it for the first time when they don't know what the story is and how their decisions are going to affect the rest of it. So it's a very interesting game, and I strongly recommend you guys to check out Undertale when it begins. Those of you guys that know the game will know that there's multiple different ways to play through it. What you'll be seeing on YouTube initially is just going to be my first run of the game, and once you get to the end of the playlist you'll have a better idea of what my plans are for any other future runs of Undertale. But that's something that's starting on the channel very soon, and I strongly recommend you to check it out. I think you'll genuinely enjoy it. Bioshock 2 is ongoing. I think I'm up to like episode 18 or 19. I think for the story there's maybe 5 or 6 episodes left, and then after that I have the DLC, which is probably another 4 or 5 episodes tops. So there is a little bit more to go from Bioshock 2. It's another one of those like niche series that I know only like 500 to 1,000 people are going to watch, but it's a game that I really enjoyed playing. I've always had love for Bioshock, so I'm very happy to still be playing it and to be sharing it with the audience that's interested in it. That's going to be ongoing. The podcasts also continue. I recently uploaded the one that I did with Mike from Gamers Little Playground. Since that's a different type of content, it's one that I always try my best to get people to check out, even if maybe you haven't heard of the person that's on the podcast. The conversations in there can be interesting. You can potentially discover new people, you can hear interesting stories, so it's something that I'd urge you to not dismiss just because you don't know who they are. And hopefully, if you guys continue to support the podcast content, it will only help me get more people in the future. I mean, when you're trying to get guests in for a podcast, especially if they're more popular, the more popular your podcast is to start with, the better your chances of someone looking at that and saying, yeah, that's going to be something that I want to jump onto. It's one of those things where whether we like it or not, especially for more popular people, they just get so many requests for these kind of things that the easiest way to generally filter for quality is just to look at whether or not people are actually watching it. So if you have a podcast that only has like 500 people watching it versus someone that's asking you to come on who has like 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 or more, then you're more likely to pick the one that has the credentials. So for you guys that are enjoying the podcast format, please continue to support that content, because if I try to someday get somebody that you're much more interested in, then you're only going to improve my chances if you check out the previous podcast where maybe it was someone that you didn't previously know. And I promise you there are going to be some interesting conversations in there from people that you've never heard of before. So that's the podcast stuff, more of it coming. I have one with 4-8 Productions that I've recorded. He is a wizard of Final Fantasy VII. He's been on the platform for a very long time. The easiest way to think of him is like, if I'm the Final Fantasy X guy, he's the Final Fantasy VII guy, and we had a deep and interesting conversation about our careers and Final Fantasy, and that's going to be coming next. There's more podcasts in the pipeline. There's people that I'm trying to contact. There's people that I have like on my list that I can record with. That's going to be an ongoing project. As always, if there's someone that you'd like me to record a podcast with, do let me know in the comments. I can't promise to sort of try to bring on everybody. I try to at least have it be someone that I'm a bit more familiar with, that I've seen their content before, or they do work that I'm interested in, or they're in a field I'm interested in. But if there's popular demand for someone, I'll of course be interested in trying to get them onto the podcast. Hopefully we'll have Hedy Barres on the podcast in the not too distant future, and if I can get that one recorded, that might open the floodgates for more potential voice actors. Of course, James Arnold Taylor would be great, but there's other people like, I've tried to reach out to Brianna White, Heiress VA. She hasn't responded, but I mean, it's just something that I'm always sort of in the background trying to do. I'm always sending out emails and trying to see who I can get a hold of. But usually, because they're fairly popular people, it's not the easiest, and these podcasts take quite a large time commitment to do. So it's understandable that obviously, especially for people that are very busy and have a large following, it's very difficult for them to make the time to do a podcast. But it's something that I've really been enjoying, and I hope to do more of them as we move forward. In terms of more upcoming content, there is a piece of content I've been working on which I have really enjoyed, and this is one of those where it's a bit like the Final Fantasy X lo-fi thing that I made more recently. Hopefully most of you watching this would have watched and listened to the Final Fantasy X lo-fi stuff. I think personally, to me, this is something I've enjoyed even more than that, because it involves the Ghost of Tsushima, which is visually the most beautiful game that I've ever played. I let you guys know that I recorded my playthrough of that anyway. I didn't do any commentary. It's not going to appear as an LP on the channel or anything like that, but I wanted my playthrough of it to be archived in case I wanted to use the content from it for something else. And what I decided to do was make a nice compilation of all of the photo mode stuff that I've been doing in my playthrough. The game is absolutely stunning. It's difficult. If you've never seen it properly before, it's hard to put into words how beautiful this game is. And so what I'll be releasing in the not too distant future is a 20-minute compilation of my photo mode stuff in like the format of cinemagraphs. So even though it's photo mode, you can animate the environment, so you have these really beautiful environments that are animated, but you have it in like a nice loop, so you can just enjoy it as a tranquil, chill thing in the background. It's really nice. I put some of the more mellow parts of the soundtrack in there as well. To me, it creates like a really nice chill vibe with some really stunning visuals as well. And it's something that I hope you guys will enjoy when it's released. So that's another piece of content to look forward to. When it comes to Ghost of Tsushima, that's still like another ongoing thing. I have the content from it. There's potentially more photo mode stuff I could do with it. and I might just release a singular review video for Ghost of Tsushima as well, because for me it was my game of 2020. I absolutely loved it, and I'm sure there's some things I could say about it if I put my head to it. So that's the Ghost of Tsushima. Look forward to that content coming soon. The next big game coming to the channel is going to be Nier Replicant. That comes out on the 23rd of April. Nier Automata became probably one of my top 10 games of all time. I really loved it by the time I completed it. Really fantastic game, and it had me hyped for Replicant. From what I know of Replicant, it's a remaster slash remake. It's not as simple as a remaster, and it's not as full on as a remake. But one thing I have heard is that the battle system and the gameplay is a bit more like Automata, so it should be easier for me to transition into. In terms of the uploads, I've been in contact with Square Enix, and they've said to me, like, hopefully they'll send me a review copy, but in terms of when I'll receive it, I don't know yet. I'm just going to have to wait it out. Hopefully I get it before release. That would be nice. As you guys know, got to prepare that content before release. But even if not, I mean, I should have it by release day, and we'll start uploading it when the game is released. So Nier fans, you can look forward to that one. And maybe, I'm thinking maybe not worth watching Automata first. Probably better to watch Replicant maybe, and then watch Automata, because Replicant comes before Automata in terms of the game's chronology. So it's up to you. If you want to watch Automata first in the build up to this and then watch Replicant, that's up to you. But that's something that's coming to the channel, and it's something that I'm excited about. It's going to be the first, basically, release of the year that I'm going to be covering. The rest of it has all been old games, but we're going to be doing something fresh with the Nier Replicant remake very soon. Next up is the Final Fantasy X P Birdman mod. That's something that I'm continuing to work on, of course. There's been a few things that P Birdman and I have wanted to kind of talk about and tweak before I go on to the Dark Aeons. So there's been a slight delay in that sense. I completed Nemesis maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'm ready for the Dark Aeons. But there's been some things that I've wanted to hopefully work out with P Birdman first. And alongside some of the other stuff that I've been busy with, there's been a slight delay, but hopefully I should be able to continue recording very soon. And we'll be able to start the Dark Aeons and basically the final chapter of the P Birdman mod playthrough. So that's continuing. Final Fantasy X Ultimania Secrets fans, you guys will have some more content to come as well. I have one more part left for the early story concept stuff. That's something that I will be working on in the coming months, so that's going to appear on the channel too. People waiting for Final Fantasy V, I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to start at this point. I mean, obviously it's definite that I will, but as you guys know, I try not to have too much of a traffic jam on my channel in terms of content, and because I'm going to start Undertale, I have Bioshock 2 ongoing, I have Nier Replicant coming, and I have Final Fantasy X P Birdman mod all ongoing at the same time. Throwing in Final Fantasy V into the mix is just going to be overkill for me right now. Undertale, like I said, is a short series anyway. Bioshock is more than halfway done, and so once those two are probably knocked out, I'm just going to be down to Nier Replicant pretty much, and that should be, I think, a good time for me to start doing Final Fantasy V. And once I get going with that, it's not going to be like Final Fantasy VI in more recent times when I was uploading like a couple of videos a week. To start off the series and to have the momentum for the storyline, it'll be back to 5 episodes a week. So once Final Fantasy V gets going, don't worry, there's going to be plenty of content to watch for that. You just have to continue to be patient for now, enjoy some of the other series, maybe enjoy some previous series that I've done in the past while you wait for 5. But it's definitely coming, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a different kind of vibe from 6. And although it doesn't have like the universal kind of acclaim that 6 does based on the people that I've spoken to over the years, there are still a lot of people that have enjoyed it, especially from people whose opinions about the series I genuinely value. So there is a strong chance that maybe I might not love it as much as 6, but it might still be a top tier Final Fantasy for me. So I'm definitely not writing off the potential for it to be one of the top tiers as well. We will just have to wait and see together. So that's the update on Final Fantasy V. I'll probably start recording it in the next month or so, and start uploading it within the next 2 months or so, in order to not create a massive jam on the channel. So look forward to that, it will be coming fairly soon. The final topic for today's Hangout is about live streams. There's a couple of live streams that I want to do in the not too distant future. Those of you guys that have followed the channel for a while will know that May the 4th is the channel's anniversary. The channel turns 13 this year, which is an incredible milestone. And to celebrate, I'm going to be doing the same thing that I did last year, because we had such a wonderful time. It was the single best live stream that I've ever done, and I definitely wanted to do it again. Mainly because we didn't achieve our goal the previous time. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I did a live stream last year where you guys basically tried to complete the Omega Ruins chess minigame in Final Fantasy X. There's a 1 in 240 chance of guessing all of the correct chests, and what I did was basically pick people from the chat to try and guess the chest order, and we played through and we tried to see if we could get the 99 warp spheres. We were unsuccessful, but we had a whale of a time trying, and we very nearly did it. We were very, very close. And so this year I wanted to try it again because we had such a great time. And so on May the 4th, for the 13th anniversary of the channel, barring any sort of, real life issues or anything like that, I should be able to do a live stream of that again, and we'll have another crack at it to see if we can beat that minigame and get the 99 warp spheres. So that's something for you guys to look forward to. Stay tuned. I will give you more information on that when the time draws near. The second one I have is actually a little bit more interesting. This year is another milestone year for me because this channel is called Dansg08 for a reason. There's always going to be some part of the audience that doesn't know what Dansg08 means. Dansg08 is Dark Anima No Sphere Grid 2008. The reason I started this channel was because I wanted to try and provide some video evidence of beating Dark Anima using no sphere grid in Final Fantasy X in the year 2008. That's something that I wasn't sure if I'd ever achieve, but in the year 2011 I managed to achieve the almost impossible, and I beat Dark Anima using no sphere grid. That was uploaded on the 21st of May 2011. It's been 10 years. For that reason, I wanted to see if I could set up a save file on an emulator where basically I have the same setup as I did 10 years ago, and I'm going to do like a live attempt to try and beat No Sphere Grid Dark Anima once again. I mean, of course, the odds of me pulling that off within that live stream is going to be like 0.001%, but it's just something that I thought would be fun. It's been 10 years since I achieved something like that, and it's such a important personal thing for me. And I thought one way to sort of remember and celebrate that, the fact that I managed to achieve what I set out to do when I started the channel, is to do a live stream of trying to do that challenge once again. So people have joked in the past about, oh, why don't you try and do it again? And I think I will. So on the 21st of May, again, barring any issues, it's about 6 weeks out, so I can't guarantee that I'll manage it on that day. But barring any issues, I'm going to probably try to live stream a bunch of attempts of No Sphere Grid Dark Anima, and we can just hang out in the chat and have some fun while I try to achieve the impossible for a second time. So that's the second stream I have planned. There is, of course, the Final Fantasy X 20th anniversary, but that's all the way out on the 19th of July. So I'm not going to make any promises on that. There is a good chance I'll probably live stream for that if I'm around for it. So look out for that one too. I mean, the 20th anniversary is it's one of those ones where you really do start to feel old. I mean, I didn't play it at release, but the fact that Final Fantasy X is 20 years old this year it's mind-blowing. But I'll see if I can get a live stream going so that we can all feel old and drown our sorrows together. So look out for that one too on the 19th of July. So there we go, guys. Those are the updates. Lots of content to come, as you've seen on the channel. Still continuing to work hard, still trying to give you guys a nice variety of content, something for everybody. I hope you guys are enjoying what you're watching, and you will continue to enjoy the content I have planned for you. I will see you guys around on stream and on social media and all that good stuff. Until next time, my friends, take care. I'll see you soon.